It was an ordinary evening for Jack. The kind of evening where everything felt still, like time had slowed down. He sat in his small apartment, staring out of the window at the city lights below. The world was bustling outside, but here in his quiet space, Jack was left with his thoughts. He thought back to the mission he had been on years ago. It wasn't just any mission. It was the one that had changed everything for him. He remembered the alien woman he had freed, Zara. She had been locked away by a warlord on a distant planet, trapped in a cold, dark cell. Jack had saved her when no one else would. At the time, he hadn't expected anything in return. He had done it because it was the right thing to do. But Zara had promised something Jack had almost forgotten. She had told him that one day she would return. She didn't say when, and she didn't say how, but she said she would return. Jack had thought about her often. He wondered if she had found her people again, or if she had lived a life of peace. He hoped she was safe, wherever she was. He never expected that one day she would show up at his door. That evening, Jack was lost in his thoughts. He heard a knock on his door. He wasn't expecting anyone. It was late, and most people in his life had moved on. So, he walked to the door with little expectation. When he opened it, he froze. Standing there in the doorway was Zara, but she wasn't the scared, injured woman he had rescued all those years ago. No, she was standing tall, strong, and confident. She looked different, changed. Her clothes were elegant and elegant, nothing like the simple outfit she had worn when he saved her. There was a certain glow to her now, a sense of power that hadn't been there before. She looked like someone who had seen the universe and conquered its challenges. "Jack," she said, her voice soft but clear. "It's been a long time," Jack blinked, unsure if he was seeing things right. "Zara?" he asked, his voice low, barely above a whisper. "Yes, it's me." She smiled, and for a moment Jack was struck by how much she had changed, not just in appearance, but in her presence. "I've come to thank you, Jack, for what you did for me. I've never forgotten it." She stepped forward, holding out a small, delicate box wrapped in fine, shimmering fabric. "This is for you," she said, "a token of my gratitude." Jack looked at the box, then back at Zara. "I don't know what to say," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "I didn't do it for this." Zara nodded, as if she understood. "I know, but still, I owe you more than you can know." Jack took the box from her, still in shock. He hadn't expected this. He had never expected her to return, and certainly not like this. I didn't expect to see you again," Jack admitted, shaking his head. "I thought maybe you found your people, or... ... Zara smiled again, a small, knowing smile. "I did, but I've been searching for you ever since. I couldn't forget what you did. I wanted to thank you in person." Before Jack could respond, Zara turned and gestured to the street behind her. Jack stepped out, and that's when he saw it. A massive ship, sleek and shining, parked just outside his building. It looked unlike anything he had ever seen. A luxury craft, alien in design, but unmistakably powerful. Jack's eyes widened. "This is yours?" Zara nodded. "Yes, I wanted you to see it, to understand how much things have changed for me. For us." Jack stood frozen for a moment, unable to believe what he was seeing. The ship was like nothing he had ever imagined. And Zara, standing before him, was no longer the helpless prisoner he had rescued. She was someone entirely new. Someone with power, grace, and a mission he didn't yet understand. Zara stepped toward the ship and turned back to Jack. "Come with me," she said, her tone more serious now. "I want to show you something, dear. There's more to this than just a thank you." Jack hesitated. He didn't know what this meant or what was going on, but he also couldn't deny that curiosity was tugging at him. "What's going on, Zara? What's all of this?" Zara's eyes softened. "You're part of something bigger than you think, Jack, and I need your help." Still unsure, but unable to turn away, Jack followed Zara toward the ship. As they walked, he couldn't help but feel a sense of awe. The ship was grand, like something from a dream. It was bigger than he had ever imagined. He had no idea how. Zara had gotten it or what it meant, but one thing was clear. His life was about to change again. in ways he couldn't yet imagine. They reached the ship's entrance, and Zara led Jack inside. The interior was as luxurious as the outside's sleek surfaces, soft lighting, and an air of quiet power. The crew members, all of them alien, greeted Zara with respect and deference. They seemed to recognize her instantly, and Jack realized that she wasn't just any alien, she was someone important. "This is my ship," Zara said, her voice full of pride. "It's more than just a way to travel, it's a symbol of everything I've achieved since you saved me. And now, I want to show you where I've been, what I've done." Jack still didn't fully understand what Zara meant, but as he looked around the luxurious craft, he realized that his simple life had just collided with something far bigger than himself. He couldn't go back to the way things were, not now. As they walked deeper into the ship, Zara turned to Jack with a serious expression. "You'll see soon enough, Jack. But first, I need you to trust me." Jack didn't know what the future held, but he knew one thing for sure. This night, this unexpected visit was only the beginning of something much larger than he could have ever imagined. Jack followed Zara into the sleek, glowing ship. His heart pounded as he stepped inside, feeling like he had just entered another world. Everything was unlike anything he had ever seen before. The walls gleamed with a smooth, metallic sheen, and the air smelled fresh, like something between clean metal and soft flowers. As they walked through the long, elegant hallways, Jack felt like he was stepping into the heart of a story he wasn't sure he was ready to be part of. Zara walked ahead, her posture confident. Jack couldn't help but watch her. Had changed so much. She wasn't the scared woman he had saved years ago. Now she looked like someone with power, someone who had earned respect. Her clothes were made of fine fabric, with patterns that shimmered in the dim light of the ship's interior. There was a grace to her movements now that Jack hadn't noticed before. He could see that she was someone important, but what did it all mean? Why was she here? "You've come a long way," Jack said, still trying to wrap his mind around the situation. "This ship, it's incredible." Zara smiled without turning around. "It's nothing compared to what's out there. This is just a start." She glanced at him over her shoulder. "But I wanted you to see it, to see how far I've come." Jack wasn't sure what to say to that. How could he respond? She was right. The ship was stunning, but it was the kind of beauty that made him feel small, out of place. He wasn't used to things like this. He was used to dusty, simple rooms and quiet nights alone. He had never imagined himself standing in a place like this. They reached a large door, and Zara pressed a small button on the wall beside it. The door slid open with a soft hiss, revealing a large room. Inside, there were sleek chairs and a long table with strange glowing crystals arranged neatly. On top of it, Jack couldn't help but notice the way the light seemed to play off the crystals, casting soft colors on the walls. "This is where we plan," Zara said. "Where we make decisions, where everything happens." Jack stepped into the room, his eyes scanning the walls. There were screens everywhere, all displaying different maps and data Jack couldn't understand. But the most surprising part was the group of people sitting around the table. There were 5 of them, all alien, and they looked at Zara as if she was their leader.
Us.
They stood when she entered. "Zara," one of them said, a tall, slender figure with skin that looked like it was made of smooth stone. We were beginning to worry. "I'm fine," Zara replied with a calm smile. She looked at Jack. "This is Jack, the one I've told you about." The aliens looked at him curiously. Some of them nodded in greeting, while others simply watched him in silence. Jack wasn't sure how to react. Felt like an outsider here, a small part of something huge. Zara seemed to trust them, and that gave him some comfort. "We were just about to begin a new mission," Zara continued. "Jack will be joining us." The room fell silent at her words. The alien with stone-like skin raised an eyebrow. "Joining us?" he asked, his voice cautious. Zara nodded firmly. "Yes, Jack is the reason I'm here. He's the one who saved me, and now I need his help." There was a moment of silence, and then the alien seated at the head of the table spoke. "Right." His voice was low, but strong. "Very well, then. We will trust your judgment, Zara. Zara smiled and took a seat at the table. Jack hesitated for a moment before sitting beside her. Soon as he did, the other aliens resumed their work, their attention fully on the task at hand. Jack still didn't know what this all meant, but he knew one thing for sure. This wasn't just a simple thank you. Zara had brought him here for a reason. "We're going to change things, Jack," Zara said quietly, her eyes meeting his. "I've worked hard to get here, but there's so much more to be done, and I can't do it alone." Jack looked at her, unsure of how to respond. "What do you need me for?" Zara leaned forward, her expression serious. "You've fought battles. You know how to think under pressure. And you understand people. That's something no one else here can do." Jack was quiet for a moment. He wasn't sure if he was ready for whatever this was. He had spent years living a quiet life, away from the chaos of the world. But here he was, sitting in a room full of aliens, about to be part of something bigger than he could have ever imagined. "I'm not sure I'm the right person for this," Jack said slowly. "I don't know anything about your people or your world. I'm just me." Zara smiled. "Softly, that's what makes you perfect for this." Jack didn't understand what she meant, but he wasn't sure how to ask. The aliens around the table were still working, their focus unwavering. It was clear that this was serious business. Zara's position here wasn't just about her power, it was about something more, something he couldn't quite grasp yet. For the next hour, Zara and the aliens discussed planned strategies, movements and things Jack could hardly follow. It felt like they were preparing for something big, and Jack had the distinct feeling that he was about to be pulled into it, whether he was ready or not. Finally, when the meeting was over, Zara stood up and gestured for Jack to follow her. "Come with me. I want to show you more." Jack followed her down the narrow hallway, his mind racing. He couldn't help but feel like everything was moving too fast. But then Zara stopped and turned to face him. "Jack," she said softly, "I know this is a lot, but I'm asking you to trust me. What I need from you isn't just your skills, it's your heart, your willingness to fight for what's right. That's why I came back for you." Jack looked at her, seeing the sincerity in her eyes. For the first time, he realized that this wasn't about gratitude or a simple thank you. Zara was offering him something more. She was offering him a chance to be part of something bigger than himself. And deep down, Jack knew he couldn't walk away from it. He nodded slowly. "Okay," he said. "I'll help." Zara smiled, a look of relief crossing her face. "Thank you." They continued down the hall. Jack couldn't help but wonder what the future held for him. He had thought his days of fighting were behind him. But now, it seemed that a new chapter was about to begin. The next few days aboard Zara's ship felt like a whirlwind for Jack. Each moment seemed packed with something new and unexpected. It wasn't just the size of the ship or the advanced technology, it was the world Zara had invited him into. She had gone from being a prisoner to a powerful leader, and Jack could hardly believe the woman standing before him now was the same person he had saved so many years ago. Zara had explained the situation to him more clearly during their time on the ship. She wasn't just a member of her people's royal family. She was now an influential leader in her galaxy, working toward uniting different alien factions to create peace. However, peace in the galaxy was fragile, and Zara had enemies who would stop at nothing to destroy what she had built. That was where Jack came in. He was no diplomat or ruler, but his experience and skills from the wars he'd fought were valuable in ways Zara needed. Jack found himself spending more time with Zara, learning about the intricacies of galactic politics and the struggles her people were facing. She would sit with him in a room filled with glowing maps and star charts, explaining her plans for the future and how she hoped to bring peace to the various factions. It was clear that Zara wasn't just a leader, she was a visionary. Knowledge and commitment to her cause were unmatched. And Jack couldn't help but admire her even more for it. Yet, despite the admiration, Jack still felt out of place. He wasn't a politician, wasn't someone who knew how to navigate political alliances or manage a fleet of ships. He was a soldier, simple and straightforward. He fought because it was necessary, not because it was part of a bigger plan. The more Zara spoke of her goals, the more Jack felt the weight of his decision to help her. He wasn't just joining a cause. He was stepping into a story that was much bigger than anything he had imagined. One evening, as they sat together in the ship's command room, Akud couldn't shake off the feeling of doubt. "Zara, I don't think I belong here," he said. Quietly, his gaze focused on the holographic star map in front of him. "This is all so far from anything I've ever known. You're talking about uniting people from all over the galaxy, and I'm just a guy who saved you." Dara turned. To him, her expression softening. She placed her hand on his shoulder. "Jack, you belong here because you understand what it's like to fight for what's right. You don't need to understand everything right now. All I need is for you to trust me, as you did before." Jack looked at her, his doubts fading. Little Zara had always been strong, but now seeing her lead with such conviction, it made him question his own strength. He had always done things on his own, never relying on anyone. But now, he was part of something that required more than just fighting it. Required believing in something bigger than himself. As the days went by, Jack became more involved in the planning. Zara's mission wasn't just about peace, it was about survival. Some factions in the galaxy were bent on chaos and destruction, and Zara was determined to stop them. Jack had been assigned to assist in training the ship's crew in combat tactics, while Zara's allies were skilled diplomats and strategists. Jack's experience in warfare was something they had not prepared for, and so his training sessions became a part of the crew's daily routine. One day, as Jack worked with a group of Zara's soldiers in the ship's training hall, he realized how different his life had become. The soldiers, though highly trained, looked to him for guidance when it came to certain combat techniques. Jack had always been used to being the one who followed orders, not the one giving them. But now here he was, leading alien soldiers who respected him and wanted to learn from his experiences. It was both humbling and overwhelming. That afternoon, Zara joined them, watching quietly from the side as Jack demonstrated a few defensive moves. Afterward, she approached him, her eyes full of appreciation. "You're doing well, Jack," Zara said. "You've adapted quicker than I expected." Jack wiped the sweat from his forehead and shrugged. "It's nothing, just teaching them what I know." "You're underestimating yourself," Zara replied, her voice filled with warmth. "You've brought something to this ship that we can't get anywhere else. Strength, resilience, and experience, things I can't teach them." Jack was silent for a moment, processing her words. "I didn't come here to be a teacher, Zara. I came here to help you, to keep you safe. But I'm starting to realize there's more to it than just that." Zara nodded. "Exactly. You're not just here to protect me. You're here to help us all. And as much as it may seem overwhelming, you're the one who can make a difference. You're already doing it." Jack looked at her, her words sinking in. He'd come aboard this ship thinking he was just a soldier who had been thrown into something. He didn't understand. But now, with each passing day, he realized that Zara had brought him here for a reason. Not just to fight, but to lead alongside her. As the ship glided silently through space, Jack spent more time in the ship's command room with Zara, discussing everything from military strategy to her people's long-term goals. Despite his growing doubts, Jack began to see a clearer picture of the mission Zara was leading. She wasn't just building an army, she was building a future. A future where peace could exist, but only if the right people worked together. One night as Jack looked out the window at the stars, he couldn't help but feel a sense of responsibility. Zara had trusted him, and now he had to prove that he was worthy of that trust. He didn't know where this path would lead, but he knew one thing for sure: he wasn't going to let her down. Zara's voice broke into his thoughts. "I know. This is hard, Jack. You've been through a lot. But I need you to stay focused. We've come too far to turn back now." Jack turned to her, his expression serious. "I won't turn back. I'm with you, Zara. Whatever happens." She smiled, her eyes reflecting the stars outside. "Thank you, Jack. We're in this together." As the ship continued its journey, Jack realized that the decision he had made to help Zara wasn't just about helping one person. It was about something far larger. It was about helping a galaxy that was on the brink of war. And it was about finding his place in a story he had never imagined being a part of. Jack knew that the path ahead would be difficult, but for the first time in a long time, he felt like he was exactly where he needed to be. Jack had been with Zara for weeks now, and each day seemed to reveal more layers of her life that he hadn't expected. The galaxy she was trying to unite wasn't simple, and neither were the challenges she faced. Jack had spent his days training soldiers, learning new languages, and helping with strategy. But it wasn't until that one evening that he truly understood the weight of Zara's mission. It started like any other evening. Zara invited Jack to a meeting with her closest allies, the ones who had been with her through thick and thin. They gathered in a room filled with maps and glowing screens, each person wearing an expression of quiet focus. As Jack sat down next to Zara, he could feel the tension in the air. This wasn't a typical meeting. There was something different about it. Zara turned to him and spoke in a low voice. "Tonight we discuss the next step in our plan, Jack. This is where it gets serious." Jack nodded, unsure of what she meant. He had thought everything they had done so far was serious. But now, he could sense a deeper urgency in Zara's tone. The room fell silent as a tall alien with silver skin and sharp features spoke up. His voice was calm but firm. "Zara, we have a problem. The factions we've been trying to unite are not cooperating. Some are ready to attack, and others have already formed alliances with our enemies." Jack's stomach twisted. He hadn't realized things were that bad. He thought the struggle for peace was a slow process, but it was clear now that there were forces in the galaxy who didn't want peace at all. Zara listened carefully, her face unreadable. "We can't let them tear this apart. We've made too much progress for it to end now. Do you have a plan?" Jack asked quietly, his voice filled with concern. He could see the tension in Zara's eyes as she turned to him. "I do," she replied, her voice steady. "But it requires more than just military strength. It requires strategy, and it requires trust." The alien with silver skin leaned forward. "Zara, we've been talking about using our ships to secure the borders of our territory, but some factions are already working with the galaxy's worst criminals. If we don't act quickly, we'll lose everything." Zara nodded. "I agree, but we need to be smart. We can't fight everyone at once. We need to isolate our enemies and create alliances where we can." Jack watched as Zara stood up and walked toward the large screen at the front of the room. She pointed to a series of planets and systems. "These are the ones who can help us. They're neutral, or at least they claim to be. We need their support. If we get them on our side, we can take down the real threat." Jack studied the map, his eyes following the glowing lines that connected the planets. He had always been a soldier, not a strategist, but he could see the logic in Zara's plan. It was dangerous, but it was the kind of plan that could work if they played it right. "Zara," Jack said, "what if we can't get their support? What if they choose to stay neutral or side with the enemy?" Zara turned to him, her eyes meeting his. "That's the risk we take, but we have to try. If we wait too long, we lose our chance." The room was silent again, and Jack could feel the weight of the decision pressing down on him. Zara was a leader, there was no doubt about that. But even she didn't have all the answers. And for the first time, Jack realized that this mission wasn't just about stopping war, it was about changing the future of an entire galaxy. After the meeting, Jack and Zara walked together through the ship's corridors. The lights above them hummed softly, but Jack could feel the tension still hanging in the air. "I didn't know it was this complicated," Jack said, his voice low. Zara sighed, her face serious. "It's always complicated, Jack. Peace never comes easily. There are always those who resist it, those who profit from war. And then there are those who just want to keep things the way they are." Jack ran a hand through his hair. "I get that, but what if we fail? What if we're not strong enough to stop the people who don't want peace?" Zara stopped and turned to face him. She placed a hand on his shoulder. "If we fail, Jack, it won't be because we didn't try. Be because we didn't have enough strength to keep going. But I believe in this. I believe in what we're doing. And I believe in you." Jack stared at her for a moment, feeling a mixture of fear and determination. "I don't know if I'm cut out for this. I've spent my life fighting wars, not stopping them." Zara smiled, her expression softening. "That's exactly why I need you. You understand the cost of war better than anyone. You understand what it takes to make it stop." They stood there for a moment. the weight of Zara's words settling over Jack. He had never thought of himself as a peacemaker, but maybe he could be. Maybe this mission wasn't just about stopping enemies. It was about something bigger. Something that could change the galaxy. The next day, the mission began. Zara's ship moved through space, its destination clear. They would visit the first neutral planet, hoping to gain their support. Watch stood on the ship's bridge, watching as the stars passed by. His heart was racing, and his mind was filled with doubts. But as he looked at Zara, standing beside him, he felt a sense of calm wash over him. She believed in him. And maybe, just maybe, he could believe in this mission too. Zara turned to him. "We're almost there, Jack. Stay focused." Jack nodded. "I'm with you, Zara. Whatever happens, I'm with you." The ship slowly approached the first planet. The future of the galaxy was in their hands. And Jack knew that whatever happened next, he would never be the same. The ship's journey toward the first neutral planet was long. And Jack spent most of the time thinking about everything that had happened since Zara had shown up at his door. Each day he learned more about the galaxy and the mission Zara had brought him into. He was no longer just a soldier. He was now part of something much bigger. Something he never imagined would be his life. The deeper Jack got into Zara's world, the more he felt like a stranger. She was calm, collected, and always in control. She had a purpose, and everything she did seemed to align with that purpose. Jack, on the other hand, was still finding his place. He had always been someone who followed orders, not one who made them. He had never considered himself a leader. But now, Zara was looking to him for help, guidance, and strength. Over the course of the next few days, Jack found himself spending more time with Zara, talking not just about their mission, but about their pasts, their hopes, and their fears. There was something about her that made him want to open up, even when he wasn't sure how. And every time they talked, he felt like he understood her more, not just as a leader, but as a person. One evening, after a long day of planning and strategizing, Zara invited Jack to join her on the ship's observation deck. It was a quiet place, away from the hustle and bustle of the crew, where they could see the stars up close. The view was breathtaking. Stars seemed so close, and the ship seemed so small in comparison to the vastness of space. Jack stepped up beside her, looking out into the endless black. "I never thought I'd be here," he said quietly. "I've always been in a war zone, fighting for survival. But now, it feels like everything is different." Zara looked at him, her eyes soft and understanding. "I know how you feel," she said. "When I first started this journey, I felt out of place too. I wasn't ready for what was ahead of me. But now, I realize that the only way forward is to keep moving, keep believing, and have people around you who support you." Jack turned to look at her. "You're not just doing this for yourself, are you? You're doing it for everyone." Zara nodded, a small smile crossing her face. "That's right, it's not just about me. It's about the future of everyone in this galaxy. We're all connected, whether we like it or not. If we don't work together, we'll never make it." Jack stood silently for a moment, taking in her words. He had always been focused on himself, on his own survival. But now he was part of something bigger, something that could change everything. As they stood there, the ship's sensors beeped, pulling them out of their thoughts. Had arrived at the neutral planet, Zara straightened up, her demeanor shifting instantly from calm and relaxed to focused and determined. "It's time," she said, turning to Jack. "Are you ready?" Jack nodded, feeling the weight of the moment. "Ready as I'll ever be." Ship touched down on the planet's surface, and Jack could see the tall buildings in the distance. They were nothing like the cities he was used to. These were grand, almost ancient in their design. With intricate carvings and towering spires that seemed to touch the sky, the people who lived here were not like the soldiers Jack had known. They were peaceful, wise, and deeply connected to their world. Zara led Jack through the city, past groups of people who watched them with curious eyes. Zara's presence was commanding, and Jack noticed how people would step aside as she passed. She was respected here, and it made him realize just how much she had grown since he had first met her. When they reached the central meeting hall, Zara paused and turned to Jack. "This is it. The council will be inside. I need you to stay calm and listen carefully. These people can change the course of everything, but they need to believe in us." Jack nodded, his nerves getting the best of him. "I'll do my best," Zara smiled, and placed a hand on his shoulder. "That's all I can ask for." They entered the hall, where a group of wise-looking beings waited. Their robes were long and elegant, and their faces were calm, yet full of wisdom. Zara stepped forward, greeting them with respect, and Jack stood beside her, feeling like an outsider in this unfamiliar place. The council leader, a tall being with silver skin, looked at Zara with a mixture of respect and curiosity. "You've come to us, Zara, with a request. What is it you seek from us?" Zara stood tall, her voice firm but calm. "We seek your support in uniting the galaxy. There are forces out there who wish to see us divided. If we stand together, we can create a future where peace is possible." The council members listened intently, exchanging glances. Jack could see the doubt in their eyes. They were wary, but Zara was unwavering in her conviction. "This isn't just about power," she continued. "It's about survival. If we don't come together, we will fall apart. I know what I'm asking is difficult, but I'm asking you to look beyond what we've been taught. Look beyond the old ways and see the possibility of a future where we all work together." There was a long pause, and Jack could feel the tension in the room. He had never been good at speeches, but he knew that Zara's words were the truth. He believed in her vision. For the first time, he realized that he wasn't just standing beside her as a soldier. He was standing beside her as a partner. One of the council members, a short being with blue skin, spoke up. "You ask us to trust you, Zara. But how can we trust someone who has not yet proven her ability to lead?" Zara's eyes hardened slightly, but her voice remained steady. "I have spent years earning that trust. I have fought, bled, and sacrificed everything for this. I am asking you to trust me because I know what it means to fight for peace." Council members exchanged more looks, and Jack could see that they were considering her words carefully. Zara's resolve was like a light in the darkness, and Jack couldn't help but admire her. She wasn't just asking for help, she was offering a vision of a better future. And for the first time, Jack believed it. After what seemed like an eternity, the council leader spoke again. "We will consider your request, Zara. But no, this trust is not easily given. You will need to prove your words with action." Zara nodded. "I understand, and I will prove it." As they left the council hall, Jack turned to Zara. "Do you think they'll agree to help?" Zara smiled, but there was a hint of uncertainty in her eyes. "I don't know, but we've made progress, and that's all we can do." Jack felt a surge of admiration for her. She wasn't just a leader, she was someone who believed in a better world, and she was willing to do whatever it took to make that world a reality. As they walked back to the ship, Jack realized that he wasn't just helping Zara anymore. Was helping a cause, a vision, and maybe, just maybe, he was helping to change the galaxy. The days following their visit to the neutral planet were filled with uncertainty. Zara and Jack had done everything they could, but the council's decision was still up in the air. As they waited, tension seemed to hang thick in the air of the ship. It wasn't just the council's approval that weighed on them. It was the realization that the future of the galaxy depended on the choices they made now. Jack spent most of his time thinking. When he first agreed to help Zara, he had no idea what he was getting into. He was just a soldier, a man who had fought wars, seen battles, and survived. But now he was involved in something much bigger. He was part of a movement that could change the fate of millions. And that was both thrilling and terrifying. One afternoon, as the ship floated silently through the vast expanse of space, Zara invited Jack to her quarters. The conversation they had would change everything. "Jack," Zara said as she stood by the large window, staring out at the stars. "I know you've been thinking a lot about what we're doing. This isn't an easy thing. It never was." Jack watched her for a moment. She was so confident, so sure of herself, and yet he could sense a deeper worry in her. "I don't know what to think anymore, Zara," he admitted. We've come this far, but I don't know if I can do this. What if we fail? What if everything falls apart? Zara turned to face him, her eyes soft but filled with determination. I've asked myself that question 1,000 times, she said. But failure isn't the end, Jack. It's just another step in the journey. We won't give up. We can't. Jack stood there, listening to her words, and for the first time he realized just how much she had changed. She wasn't just a scared woman he had rescued years ago. She had grown into someone powerful, someone who had faced countless challenges and kept moving forward. She had strength in ways Jack couldn't even understand. And now, standing next to her, he felt the weight of the decision ahead. I don't want to fail you, Zara, Jack said quietly. I don't want to let you down. Zara walked toward him and placed a hand on his shoulder. You won't. You never have. You're here because I believe in you, and you're not alone in this. We're doing this together. Jack felt a lump in his throat as he looked at her. He wasn't used to feeling so vulnerable, but in that moment, with Zara by his side, it felt like everything he had done in his life had led him here. He had always thought of himself as a lone wolf, someone who fought his battles alone. But now with Zara, he realized that maybe, just maybe, there is something more to life than just fighting. I'm with you, Zara, Jack said, his voice firm. Whatever happens, I'm with you. Zara smiled, her eyes lighting up with relief. Thank you, Jack. That means everything to me. The next day, the council's decision arrived. The message was transmitted directly to the ship, and Zara, Jack, and the rest of the crew gathered in the command room to listen. The council leader's voice echoed in the room, calm but serious. We have discussed your request, Zara, and after much consideration, we have decided to support your cause. However, there are conditions. We will lend our support, but we expect you to prove that your vision can unite the galaxy.
Oh, yeah.
This will not be easy. There will be resistance, and many will challenge your authority. But if you can hold firm, we will stand by you. Zara's face remained calm, but Jack could see the spark of victory in her eyes. She had done it. They had done it. We will prove ourselves, Zara said, her voice steady. We will fight for a future where peace is possible, and we will do it together. As the message ended, Jack couldn't help but feel a surge of pride. This was it. It secured the support they needed, and now they had to move forward. But it wasn't going to be easy. There would be battles ahead, not just in space, but in the hearts and minds of the people they were trying to unite that night. Zara and Jack stood together on the ship's observation deck, watching the stars pass by. They had come so far, but they both knew that the real fight was just beginning. We've made it this far, Jack said, looking at the stars. But there's still so much left to do. Zara nodded, her expression serious. Yes, there is. But we can do this, Jack. We have to. Jack turned to her, his eyes filled with resolve. I believe in you, Zara, and I believe in what we're doing. Let's finish this. Zara smiled, her face softening. Q, Jack. You don't know how much that means. They stood together side by side, looking out into the endless expanse of space. The galaxy was full of uncertainty, and the road ahead would be difficult. But for the first time, Jack felt a sense of peace. He wasn't just a soldier anymore. He was part of something much bigger than himself, something that could change the future of the galaxy. As the ship sailed on toward their next destination, Jack knew that whatever came next, he and Zara would face it together. The mission wasn't over yet, but they had taken the first step toward a future where peace was possible. And that was all that mattered.